Hello, ho ho hoes out there.
Whoa.
Well,
Where are we? We haven't been
um,
here in a
I
while.
know
It's
we
been a
haven't been here.
second.
It's been a whole month. Last we talked, Big Brother 25 had just ended. Jag had
Oh my
won.
god.
A second winner prediction in a row for me. And Survivor, we had just lost our biggest character of the season in Caleb. And boy,
Wow.
did we lose three more big characters of the season since four, actually, if you count Kendra as well. But the three on the thumbnail, I mean, getting
Yeah.
rid of Kelly, then Bruce with the idol thing, and Kendra in the middle there, and then also Emily. Like, this has been a wild month of Survivor. And we just came off of the premiere of Reindeer Games last night. And I will say, first and foremost, because I think we're going to just get that out of the way first. I was expecting us to just recap it when it ended and just kind of be like, so that happened. Here was what Reindeer Games was. But then, like, watching it, I kind of
Nah,
love it.
man.
Zach, what are
I
your
think
thoughts? First off, I was on vacation, so welcome back. Good to see you again, Zach. How
good to
you
see
doing?
you. I'm good. Listen, a lot of things have happened in a month since I've been on here. I guess we'll talk a little bit about them at the end when we plug our things. But the most exciting thing that has happened is that I am currently viral on TikTok.
Yes, you
I
are.
am viral on TikTok. You've
You're.
probably seen
It's your
me
wife's
scream.
account. It's your wife's
It
account, but
is, but
you
it's
yourself are
me.
you are the subject of the video.
Uh, Maybe you've seen me screaming about some Hunger Games stuff. The most exciting thing of the last month is that I just watched and read the Hunger Games for the first time. It only took me 10 extra years. I have a lot of feelings. I am Team PETA. I'm Team PETA over Gale. If you're Team Gale, not to sound harsh, but you suck.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, I'm just looking at the audience. I'm hoping that we have no Team Galers. Are you a Team Gale?
I'm a team. Katniss should do what
That's
she wants,
correct.
and she don't
Correct.
need no man. That's my team.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
but if
Gail's
you
boring, and I think Peeta's a little bit of a baby. So I think Katniss is good on her own. That's my
Team
philosophy.
Katniss is correct. I love it. I'm all about it.
But if you had to choose,
Um,
Peeta's
but
correct.
if I had to choose, it's PETA.
Mhm.
But yeah, so you've seen me on TikTok.
Yeah.
I was just in hell for like 2.5 months doing my high schoolers shows, and they're closed, and we're about to move on to our next one. And in
Mhm.
between there, I have found myself trying to, digest all the media that there is. I haven't played a
Yeah.
Survivor. Oh, the last time I played, I was in the middle of a Survivor game. I came in
Yes.
seventh. Seventh is a good placement.
It is.
Team seven. Team seven. Um, ooh, that's a Naruto reference. I don't know if anyone
Mhm.
understands that.
Well, and I gotta say, we can segue this into Reindeer Games. Congratulations, Cameron clawed his way to ninth place twice in a row. That was a Corey Wartenberger
Yay!
tweet I read of Cameron clawed his way to ninth place twice, and I gagged.
Who
Because
can who
obviously,
can hate on Who can hate on some Zach Wurtenberger? Who can hate on
um,
who can hate on
I don't
Corey
know if it's Zach or
Wurtenberger and
Corey. I
Zach?
can't remember.
It
But
doesn't matter.
yeah. So Reindeer Games happened. Really, really interesting because we were given going into this. We were given the fact that there would be someone from BB 25, and we all were like, "Oh, it's going to be Cameron." And then we were also given the fact that we would get 9 BB legends. Which again, if Cameron's part of that, I wouldn't necessarily say he's a legend, but whatever. And then we were also getting the drop that there's no host. Instead, it's going to be hosted by 3 of Santa's elves: Jordan, Derek X, and Tiffany. And we were also told that it
Which
would be competition based. Now, there were some exciting things about all this. There were some not exciting things. And I would think one of the most non exciting things was the competition thing because we were all like, what the hell? It's all going to be the competition. So it's just going to be a steamroll. Cam, Cody, Xavier, they're going to win everything. But who won the comps last night? I mean, Frankie was a comp beast this season, but
it's
Brittany
true.
wins the first comp of the season. And I think that is why already I think so many people are fans of it already, and myself included. I'm sure you as well,
Oh yeah.
because the competition seemed like anyone can win it, anyone can lose it, and we saw that with the first challenge, Brittany getting it because she was able to guess up on the housetop. You had to guess a song title. We don't see comps like that anymore, and all the brain challenges we got in BB25 involved you had to run back and forth. Like BB Comics, you had to take the zip line, and it was all
Hmm.
things that benefited people who could go fast. Whereas here it was
Yep.
just you have to
Not
be the first one to
anymore.
ring the bell, but you didn't have to jump a hurdle to do it. And then the second competition is a little physical, but it is also strategic in the fact that you are putting letters in other people's things to block them while also trying to take them out of your own. There was a physical component, but it was mostly a strategic comp to where Frankie, just by being good with everyone, won that. So it didn't take physical, strength to win any of these comps. And then in the end, X and Cam are both comp beasts. but ultimately it wasn't necessarily a physical challenge. It was just who could put the puzzle together.
No.
So it was a really great way to show that BB can go on without the same types of comps over, and it has been. It seems like a show, not to season contestants issue, because clearly, if you have the right contestants, and I think we did, we had 8 great contestants in Cam, and then Cam went home first, so I could say we have 8 great contestants left, and just great comps. What are your thoughts on this? Because I'm a big fan of reindeer games.
I like it. I like the dynamic of it. I like that. I think a lot of people were worried that because, I mean, Big Brother is such a social based competition. I mean, you have to be social. You have to have some sort of prowess with people. And it seemed like when it was announced, it seemed like Reindeer Games was kind of taking away from that, like what Big Brother is, especially the fact that they were, billing it as like Big Brother Legends. People were like, oh, we're getting a Big Brother Legends thing. That probably means like a shorter season. They go in the house, they do this. And I know a lot of people were disappointed because we aren't getting like quintessential Big Brother.
Yeah, we're not getting feeds, which is another big factor.
But to be honest, I kind of like it. I like that like there's a little bit of a break in between each episode. That's not to say, CBS, if you're watching, that doesn't mean you take away the live feeds.
Right.
What this I think proves more than anything is like a faster format Big Brother will work. You don't need 100 days. You get 70. I mean, what do we remember? Did we ever figure out what the amount of days it took to Dan to win was?
Dan Giesling, I think it was like 74. So the fact that he did it in 3/4 time that Jag did, Cameron was still in the house when Dan Giesling won.
Well, and that to me, I think what's cool about this is that where people were kind of frustrated because it seemed like this thrown together thing, it actually does the opposite of proving like fast-paced Big Brother works really, really, really well, which I'm very excited for.
Yeah.
I thought it was so cool to see, like in terms of how the games work. And it seems to me, I mean, it's very reminiscent of the challenge, but like a Big Brother style challenge. This idea that like these two competitors get thrown in, the best person wins at the end, they stay, cool, whatever.
And you win comps to determine who's going to go into the later comps.
Very
but the
much
good thing
the
is
challenge.
that they've told us there's going to be some challenges where there's duos, some where there's teams. So it's like we're still on our toes. Like tonight there's an episode, there's actually an episode in 2 hours, and we don't know necessarily if it's going to be a team comp or what not. And I think that kind of,
and they don't know either. That's also cool.
Exactly.
But what I love is that it keeps the social aspect of Big Brother. You get alliances, you get tight-knit relationships. And what's cool is that, I mean, we have legends, and I think that some people would argue that some of these people are not legends. I think the person who was the least legendary is gone because it's Cam and he's gone. But I think for the most part,
people left are
pretty legendary.
The only other one I would consider maybe not a legend because they didn't win and they didn't play multiple seasons is Frankie. But Frankie is such a big personality that I think you could say he's a modern legend for sure. But everyone else is either a winner or if they didn't win, it's Daniel Reyes or Brittany,
Well, and they're multi-season all-stars, coaches, like they have prowess in what they do. But what I love is the fact that you've got people who've played on multiple seasons together. You have a relationship like Nicole and Brittany that is based out of not Big Brother, but Amazing Race.
Yeah. And just the fact
there's
that
a lot of beef.
Brittany's best friend is Janelle, which adds a lot of factor. Yeah.
But then you also have the fact that like, and they really went for it. The fact that Nicole was like, I haven't spoken to Cody in 3 years.
Yeah, and
I thought that was. But what's interesting is like we all loved that moment so much, but we're watching fallout of it now in a real time. Like, I think people get frustrated because we don't get to see kind of how the fallout affects them once the season is over. But we're seeing like real time fallout, like. Who knows how this is going to affect like the way that Cody does in the comps, the way that Nicole does in the comps, what happens when they have to work together. And I think that that's such a cool dynamic of it because I will say this, they did a really good job picking who they brought in because they brought it. I mean, bringing in Nicole is already going to cause a little bit of a wave depending on who you have, but you bring in Cody and Brittany to kind of do this, but then you bring in Frankie, who's played with her before, and they get along really, really well.
Yeah, and Frankie and Cody get along well too, which is another dynamic.
Well, and so Frankie gets to play the middle exactly like he did in 16, which I like as a fan of like those kinds of seasons, like Pre-20 Big Brother, I think, is my favorite era of Big Brother. Like pre-20 just as a whole, that's like the glory days of Big Brother. But I personally am a fan of like 16, 18, 20. Those three are like my mesh. So getting to see dynamics like that pay off, then you add in Taylor, you add in Danielle, you add in Xavier, like you add in Josh, who I thought I was gonna hate having around, and I really like it.
The
I
challenge is
like him
mellow
a
Josh
lot.
because he's still
And
Josh, but he's a little older now. So because Josh was very young when he won, I
Josh was
think
like
people forget that.
22. I think
Yeah.
him and I were around the same age
Mhm.
when he was on. What, like I was 22 and he was 20. Let me look. Let
Yeah.
me look.
Yeah, but
Keep saying your
what I
thoughts.
was gonna say about Nicole Franzel, I think she was the one that most people, when they leaked the cast and then when they confirmed the cast, most people were upset about her because I think even Cameron, it's like, okay, he just won America's Favorite, I get it, and it's a competition show. I get why you have Cody, he won All Stars. Daniel Reyes,
Mhm.
Brittany, and Frankie were in that trio that introduced the season. Of course, they were going to be on. Josh
Yeah,
is a
wait,
big
Josh and I are exactly the same age.
gotcha.
Josh and I
Yeah,
are exactly the same age.
But yeah, Josh is a big personality. Xavier, the first black winner. Taylor, the first black female winner, and she's such a fan favorite. First person, like it seemed like Nicole Franzel. Yes, she had won on a return. She had battled back. She'd done it all, but I feel like people were kind of dumb with her. But I think honestly, of all the people that we got, I'm not saying she's my favorite. I'm not saying I'm rooting for her, but she had the
She was
most
the most
interesting.
excited I was
She was
to
the most
see.
interesting because it's a different Nicole Franzel, and I think she's actually finally owning up to the villain. Because the thing is, she's a villain. She plays the game where she hides behind the men. That is her
Mhm.
strategy. The problem is she's not Parvati from Survivor, because Parvati from Survivor told the camera, "I'm fooling with the men and I'm hiding behind the men and I'm going to win this game because of that." Nicole Franzel would say, "I'm not bad. Love me. I'm adorable," and that's why people hated her. But now that she's
Yeah,
actually owning it, and she's like, I want to see Cody fail. When Cody fell and she gave that smirk to the camera, I'm like, finally, you're understanding it. And I think that's the great thing about the short form Big Brother
I
and the
love
fact that
it.
they're all legends is really the only person who I think feelings could really get hurt from this is probably Cam, because everyone else is still so ingrained in the family now where it's like Danielle Reyes, if she loses and gets screwed, she doesn't give a shit. Neither is Brittany.
Right.
Neither at this point probably is Cody and Nicole. They probably have given all their fucks. They both won. Josh doesn't care. He's lost on the challenge so many times. Taylor and Xavier are so new, but so beloved by the community that even if Xavier went out last night, I don't think he's going to mind, And Cameron going out the way he went out, it was still very respectful. Like there was no bad blood. And I think that's the thing is like everyone now can be a villain and be sneaky. Like Frankie is being sneaky right now. Danielle's being
Mhm.
sneaky. Even Taylor's playing a great game right now because she maneuvered getting X to not get that disadvantage earlier when Brittany had to give it out. Brittany wanted to give it to X because X was giving her nothing. I think X is probably playing the worst of anyone because he's just not
Oh,
playing
he's so
at
bad.
social. He's
He's
just
really
letting
not playing well.
Brittany said he's giving me air, and I think that's the thing is like Brittany was ready to put him on the block or not block, but give him that disadvantage, which was only one letter, it wasn't really a disadvantage. But then Taylor talked her out of it, and put it on Cody, and I think that was great on Taylor. And now obviously Cody caught onto it, but Cody underestimated Taylor, and I think that's another great thing I
Well,
love about this is we're seeing players actually prove what they're made of, and that maybe when you put them up against the best of the best, how do they play? And that's what really
well,
shows who's really got it.
and I think what's also cool, and this is something that we talked a lot about with like Suri, like
Mhm.
how who benefits from the long game versus the short game. It's very clear now why X benefits from the long game. He needs time. He needs
Alliances.
he needs to marinate, he needs shields, he needs everything. But like he is out in the open and there's not a lot of time to do that. And the people like this is why someone like Taylor thrives because Taylor just
Social butterfly.
lock in here,
Her
lock
and
in here,
Frankie. Yep.
lock in there.
I
That's
think
what
her
and
and
that
Frankie are the most social on the season, and it's gonna really
well
pay off.
and Taylor's not a bad competitor. I think that's the thing that people don't remember. And that I think is also because she was up against someone like Monty, who is just like a full on, like big, huge bodybuilder. Taylor was good at comps. She won a bunch of comps. She
Yeah.
had prowess.
She won
And
2 HOHs, yeah.
Brittany is not a comp beast, but it doesn't matter because up against this group of people, she stands a chance. Everyone's on an even playing field. Dylan, I'm going to offer you something right now. We didn't plan this but like I think it would be fun and I think we've got a little bit of time to do it.
Yeah.
There are 8 people left and there are 2 of us. You want to do a draft?
Sure. Yeah.
Last man standing.
Yeah, of
Here.
course.
So what we'll do is we've got 8 players left. Um I will ask Siri to flip a coin. You'll call it You'll call it in the air or call it before I do the
Mhm.
thing. We do back to like you, then me. If you're first, you, then me, then
Yeah,
you,
we'll snake it.
and we'll
Mhm.
call it a last man
Yeah.
standing draft. Last
Cool.
man standing.
And
So here we
and
go.
and and we're gonna make our first picks our winner picks unless we have the same winner pick. That way,
Agreed.
at the end, if just to keep up with continuity, if I get the winner pick correct, I can then be like,
I can't stand you.
and no,
Um,
and I'll be honest, this has already been pre-taped, and I know no spoilers. And the
I don't
one
know either,
spoiler I heard preseason was that Cody was first boot, and he's not.
and it was
So
wrong.
there's
Okay.
no spoilers that are reliable right now. So go
All
ahead.
right, here we go. So heads or tails.
I'm gonna put it up. Tails.
Okay. Flip a coin, just so everyone sees.
Okay, cool.
It is tails. So you get to. You wanted to go first or second?
I will go first.
Okay.
Because I want to pick this player because okay, we've seen one episode, so we know who's at least well-rounded enough to where I feel like this person could win a bunch of comps, and I think this person has a social ability. That's the thing is you don't want to be the strongest one that everyone's looking at as a meathead. L- I'm not going to rattle off names, but like the person who just went home, Cameron, but also like some of the other names in conversation. You also though don't want to be the one who can't win a physical comp because yes, Taylor's won comps, yes, Brittany's won comps, but like who's going to be able to win the most types of comps is what I'm looking for, and who I think has the best possibility of being well acquainted with everyone. This is someone who was really close with Taylor last night, but also really close with his 16
Pick
cast
him.
members.
Pick him. Pick
It's
him. Do
Frankie
it. I want
Grande.
you to do it.
Frankie
Yeah,
Grande is
man.
going to be my pick because I really do think he is the most well positioned because he won that comp. But is anyone really looking at him now as a person they want to get out? No, he's great at comps, and I think because it's a short game, he's someone who benefits from the short game versus the long game, like we were talking about. Because long game,
Yeah.
as we saw with time, people lost trust. People saw him as a bigger threat. Now, when it's so short, I don't know. I think they're just like, Frankie's fun, and I think that's the difference. So I'm gonna go Frankie here. Who's gonna be
All
your
right.
first?
Here,
Is that your winner pick as well, or is this, you have a different winner pick? Okay, cool. Ooh,
Dylan. I've come a long way. And while I was watching last night, and I mean we've sort of alluded to it. Reindeer Games is different than Big Brother. It's Big Brother Challenge hybrid. And there's only one person on there who plays the challenge so well. And his name is Josh Martinez. And I
okay.
cannot believe that I'm going to do it. But I think that okay. So thinking about it in a relative way of speaking, Josh to me screams he either goes home this next episode or he either goes home next episode or he like wins the whole thing as far as I'm concerned. And I think the way that people see Josh is they see him as kind of a good middleman. He's very good at these physical comps. His whole background is the challenge now. He is I think outside of Cody and X are both kind of well built, but like Josh's overall prowess is in terms of like physicality and competition, I think he's probably the most well-rounded. He's probably prepared for anything physical. He will be useful for people if they want him.
Yeah.
His pitfall is his social game because he can rub people the wrong way. However, I think he knows that. And I think the thing that has changed for Josh in the span of his time since Big Brother, since being on 19, is that I think people look at his win out of anybody who's there right now. I think people would look at his win as like the most not undeserved, but like circumstantial. If he's up against anyone else, does he really win, or does he just win because he was up against Paul?
Well,
And
and
I think that
yeah, it's not a
I think
vote
that
this time. The win is based. It's like a competition at the end
Oh
too.
no,
So
no,
it
no.
doesn't
But
matter.
what
Yeah.
I'm saying is I think people underestimate like his prowess in a game. So I think that they won't see him as a big threat
Mhm.
because all it takes is like you chunk down like I mean I don't think it's a spoiler. We both know this. I don't think Cody's going to the end by any means. I think Cody will probably go out sooner rather than later. But I think the more we chunk down on like certain like like Cody goes, then it's only a matter of time before people look at Frankie and they go like, you're very well connected and like nobody's gonna like put you in a big old competition, and then you just get to 4 and like you probably win. I think Josh is well hidden enough as a person in this game, he has like both a good amount of connections and simultaneously the least amount that makes him less threatening when things are getting like we've got to split some people up, but like enough that he won't be on the chopping block for anyone else's. Because I think like Taylor wants Xavier gone sooner rather than later.
No, Taylor is working with Xavier.
Oh, sorry. Not Taylor. Brittany.
Yeah.
Brittany wants Xavier
Taylor
gone
wants
sooner rather than later. Taylor wants Cody out, which segues perfectly to my second choice.
Can I say one thing on Josh?
Well, you certainly can.
Yeah, I just want to say the one thing I think is his pitfall is the mental stuff. Because if I don't know what this reindeer games at the end is, but if there is a mental component, we saw him. He was guessing Feliz Navidad when he was trying to guess the song last night, and that was a little worrying. I do agree with you, though. I think he can make it to the end just based on social, because I really don't think anyone's going to be like, he's got to go first. And Brittany's the only one who thought about it, but only because he posts pictures of him flipping tires, but that's because he's a challenge guy now. But even then, like, if you watch a challenge, yes, he's been on the challenge, but he's never won an elimination on the challenge. So like, I don't know how necessarily threatening he is to them, but he still played on the challenge, which puts him a leg up on the Big Brother challenges. Because yes, you can lose eliminations on the challenge, but you still played in those eliminations, and those are 10 times harder than the Big Brother challenge.
Well, and I think like I just what's crazy is that I'm going out on a limb picking Josh. I love Josh in this. I hate that I love him so much because I hated him so much for so long.
He could definitely,
but he's such a different character now. So much so to the fact where I can't believe I'm going to say it. If they played an All-Star season, I think I would want him back. Like and he was supposed to be back. I like this.
He's the reason we had Memphis, because he got COVID.
And we were not fucking excited about it. I keep forgetting. I haven't cursed out here in a really long time. But we were not excited. But I think what's cool, what I like about Reindeer Games is that it gets me excited to have returnees on my screen and like hope for a better All-Star season one day. And I mean, we'll see. I don't know when we're gonna get an All-Stars again. Hopefully it'll be better than whatever we got. But that segues me
go ahead.
Into who I think I would
you
love
keep
to
saying
also
things that I want to reply to, but I want to hear your next pick.
On an All-Stars. I won't let you take her this time. It is Taylor Hale. I want Taylor Hale.
She was my next pick.
As she should be, because here's the thing, and the only reason she is not my winner pick is because I think Taylor is so likable and she is so threatening in her likability, and they all saw her play her game. They all saw how much people love her. I think, again, it's not that it's you get to win in the end. I just think that, does Taylor make like 4? Maybe, probably. Does she win against the people who are there? I think, unfortunately, she has the least chance of winning overall, but she has the highest probability of lasting just as long to get to the 4, because I think people are going to just absolutely love and adore her. And I think that because of her way that she aligns with people and she clicks with people, I think she's going to be a hot commodity. And I think people are going to really latch onto her and take that and really milk it for all it's worth.
Yeah,
I think she knows that.
Yeah, 2 things on Taylor. Yeah, I think she's really well positioned because I think she's got the girls. And yes, it seems like we're getting a Taylor versus Cody war. And it seems like Nicole Franzel is actually the one in the middle. But I think Nicole would pick the girls over Cody now. I don't think she's dumb. I think she would. And that leaves Cody with who? Frankie? Because X is working with Taylor over Cody. Because Taylor and X, and what's nice is Taylor and X have the bond, being the first Black winners. But they're not solely confined to that. But she has helped him, so he can help her, and X can win comps. So I like Taylor a lot. My point I was going to make earlier about what you were saying about All Stars, I think this is a good trial run for All Stars. Clearly didn't work. Let's see if we can do anything else with our All-Stars. And I think this may be kind of the mainstay of what happens with All-Star seasons. Like, I don't really think we're going to get... Did you get disconnected, Zach?
I can hear... Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You can hear me?
Okay, cool. I can hear you. You disappeared from my headphones. Keep talking.
That's okay. But yeah, like I definitely don't think we're gonna see another full-fledged All-Star season, at least not for a while, because of that. And if they are gonna do one, I could see them doing it with the way they did the first All-Stars, where they do a vote. Because the problem with the first All-Stars is there was so much pre-gaming to where Cody and Nicole really broke that season, and Derek to an extent because he helped plan it. But when you have this reindeer games where they're all getting short notice calls, they didn't know who was going to be there. Like, they were literally like, oh my God, you're here? Nicole Franzel. No, Cody didn't know she was coming. Like, nobody knew who was coming. Everyone figured Cam might, but Cam was disconnected from everyone. He hasn't met anyone yet. I think maybe Taylor and X probably figured they would be there. But again, nobody knew who was coming in, so they couldn't pregame much. And the pregaming is literally just Cody and Frankie played on season together, and they like each other. And X and
Right.
Taylor are the first Black winners, and Danielle and Brittany and Frankie did that thing for the beginning of BB 25 and the ending. Like
Right.
that's the extent. The real relationships are just by playing, but not like, oh, I got on the phone with them last week and we planned a whole strategy out for 8 hours on how we're going to win this game. And that's why I think this is going to work better than the regular All-Stars for that reason. Or if they do regular All-Stars, they've got to leave it up to a vote to where they find out the day of who's going in there, because then they can't have room to plan it. Because Tyler planned his pre-gaming with Casey. Casey wasn't there. It threw him for a loop.
And then it threw everything.
Yes. And that's the thing is, honestly, it was more interesting to see Tyler play that game than if he had pre-game. So I really think this is a cool way to kind of experiment that. The only thing about this that I don't love is the no feeds, but it's interesting. It's like Survivor, where you don't really know by the end of the elimination who's going home. Whereas in the normal show, like we knew every week who was going to go home because we watched the feeds. So that's the one element of this that I like, is about the no feeds. But I think this is going to be kind of where we see a lot of our All-Stars in the future rather than a full-fledged All-Star season, which transitions me to my second and third pick. These are people that on paper preseason I would have had last because I don't think they can win comps normally. Yeah. But if we are going with this new kind of style of comps, there's a grandmother on the season who looks so good. Who
I know. She said I'm a grandmother, and I went, no, you're not.
She looks younger than Nicole Franzel. And that's not to shade Nicole Franzel, but Nicole Franzel is a mother now, and she looks great. But this woman is one of my all-time favorite players, and to see her back on my screen, I got to pick Danielle Reyes next. But do I think she can win like the traditional BB 24-25 physical comps? Not as well, but this game is more than that, and that's what's exciting, and that's why I think to make it to the end, I think she stands a great shot. I don't know what the reindeer games will be, but if it's a lot of mental and physical, I think she could do well with the mental. And she's clearly not out of shape; like she can still do the physical. It's just she's not going to
handle it well.
She's not going to beat Cody in a race, but it's not going to be a race, which is going to be nice. It's just I don't know what the final is, so I don't think I could say she's my winner pick over someone like Frankie. But I'm going to round out the trio from the preseason. I'll just go Brittany next, because Brittany won the first comp, and that was another thing where I would never normally pick Brittany, but the fact that Brittany won the first comp, it shows that anyone can win a comp here, as opposed to regular Big Brother, where I think Bowie Jane was the only woman last season to win a comp, except for Felicia, who won the random shot, and then Riley, who won the first HOH. Bowie Jane won the only other comps for women. I think this season we're going to see a lot more women winning comps, and I do think Brittany, even if she doesn't have another comp in her, I think the only enemy she really made this week was Cody. I still think Frankie likes her. I still think she's got the women. I still think Josh would work with her. X is the only one, but X wants to work with her. She just doesn't want to work with X because X didn't give her anything. And I thought that moment where she was like, wait, he won, was so funny.
It was so good.
Wait, X won?
It was so well, and I think I love it because they are not really censoring anything that they're doing. I like it. And I think that's something that's super exciting about this too, is that we get to see we don't have like any context for what's been said in that house. So like when we see live feeds and then we see the episode, like you almost don't need to watch the episodes because more happens on the live feeds, and then you're angry when you don't see the fight, you don't see this. So like we're seeing full reactions, and there's nothing to make us feel like, oh my God, we didn't really get the full experience of like what actually happened. No, like that's a huge moment of her being like, I can't believe oh, he won. Oh, I didn't know that. Like,
and
which
because
it's just so fun,
and because it's such a short season, and everything's happening so fast, we really don't need the feeds because really everything that's happening we're seeing, and that's I think why we're seeing moments like that is because really realistically between that first and second comp, what we saw is probably all the time they had to talk. Like Brittany having her little one-on-ones was like, that's probably all the time they actually had. Like there's probably not
which
a
is
lot
great.
that we didn't see. So that's the thing. In a full week of Big Brother with no feeds would be awful because there's so much that goes down in a week.
And
but when
we don't get to see all that on an episode.
When you're doing daily challenges and like you're sending someone home every night, then you don't need feeds to make it interesting. So I like the short-term no feeds, whatever.
Right.
Who's going to be your final two picks here? You're leaving
me
with one.
I'm going to tell you, I'll say 3 and 4. That is the order that I would have picked them in. And I know you're going to look weird, but I tried to do this strategically. I am picking Nicole Franzel as third, and I'm picking Cody Calafiore as fourth.
Oh, so you're sticking
And
me with
here
X.
is why.
Okay,
I'm
that's fine.
sticking you
I'm
with
fine with that.
X because the way that I see it, I have stuck you with the two people who with someone who want with two people who want to get each other out fairly quickly. And I have stuck myself with two people who want to get each other out fairly quickly. And
Yeah.
so really what's going to happen is we're going to see how fast each other takes the other one out. But I also so I'm picking in terms of like trying to figure out how I can be last person standing. Um because you have who do you have? You have
I now have
um
Frankie, Danielle, Brittany, and X. So
okay, cool.
the three people from the BB25 opener and X.
So I picked Nicole for I just think that Nicole has a little bit more longevity because she's well aligned with the girls right now. And I think at the end of the day, she like you said, she would pick the women over picking the men, which is cool.
Yes, very different
But
from her, but very good.
very, very different, but like smart in this medium. Um, you have Danielle, Brittany, Frankie, and Xavier, and they can't all like they're all going to save Taylor, but they can't all stick around. And I think that they will absolutely save Taylor before they save each other. So I have hopefully picked a team that causes yours to eat each other alive.
All right.
But like on in terms of that, I think Cody is sort of and Cody's tough because I think Cody is sort of like a dead man walking. I think he's only got a little bit of longevity before
I
something
mean,
actually happens.
but the thing
But
is, he could win comps, so
that's the thing is that he can win comps. I do foresee like Frankie won't put Cody in before he puts Xavier in. I don't think I think that Danielle and Brittany would, but like Taylor probably puts in Cody, and Nicole wants to put in Cody. But I think as a group overall consensus, they probably put in Cody and X together if they wanted to put two people in, because I feel like Brittany will want Xavier, the rest will want Cody. They'll say kind of like best man wins, Xavier or Cody leaves. And then they pick up the pieces from there. Because then, best case scenario for all of them, if Xavier goes, they have an easy target to just get rid of Cody again if they can. Or if Cody goes, then Xavier is available for them, and they can just start picking other people off. Like I think it's going to be interesting because I don't fully understand the social dynamics yet. I don't understand how they're going to come into play yet,
but
and
that's
I'm
great.
very excited.
Yeah,
Which is exciting because it means that overall, these are the format is working. Like it means that I have to watch, which I think people were worried about. Like I saw so many things on Twitter of people being like, me when they announced Reindeer Games. Ugh, I'm so over this. I can't. I hate this so much. Me tonight watching Reindeer Games with like them at like popcorn on the like. It's doing what it needs. It's refreshing as a Big Brother fan who loves and adores Big Brother. It is refreshing to get this. It's refreshing to get this now because I feel like the format's been a little tired for a while, and they have tried before, like with Over the Top, and Over the Top wasn't exactly what they wanted it to be. Like this is refreshing and it gets people excited. Like I would be excited to watch. I'm excited to get to Big Brother in the summer after Reindeer Games, or hopefully see like a little bit more of Big Brother. Like, or maybe they do instead of like a Reindeer Games, they do something in the spring before we get our actual season. Who knows?
yeah. And I mean, once those Peacock contracts expire, and we can get Janelle and Dan on one of these too, like that's
and I
great.
think people are like, how could you not have Rachel? How could you not have Janelle? How could you not have Dan? They literally can't. They can't have them.
Rachel's contract's up. That's the one issue. Apparently, Rachel was offered it. Okay, so the T is apparently, and this is why some people also are mad at Nicole Franzel. Apparently, Rachel was offered the spot, and then or was in contact, and then apparently Nicole reached out to production and was like, "Hey, I want to play," and they were like, "I thought you didn't want to play Big Brother ever again." And she was like, "No, I want to play this." And so they took her and then ghosted Rachel. That's the T, which I just can't. I can't.
I don't know. That feels weird. That feels like not Big Brother.
If anything, I feel like they would ask Nicole to then maybe be one of the elves instead of Rachel, or they would do 10. I really don't think they would have done that. But hey, that's the T apparently, is that they swapped Rachel for Nicole and then ghosted Rachel, which ghosting Rachel just seems so crazy. But I don't think
we haven't even talked about the elves. We haven't talked about our favorite little
Well,
my favorite our favorite.
we haven't seen too
Well, I
many.
know, but like we know who they are. Like
I mean,
we
yeah,
haven't talked about the fact that like
Derek X, and Tiffany. Yeah, it's awesome.
it's three of our favorite people. Like
Yeah.
I love like the three of my favorite people
Which
who like.
is also a little confusing though. Like Jeff is a legend. Why didn't they have Jeff play? Like, is he just taking care of the
I
kids?
think
Like,
he's
what?
done. I think he's kind of like that's. I
Because
think
I
that's
always
also
thought Jeff was
something.
more into Big Brother than Jordan was, and Jordan was just like, "Oh, I do it because Jeff loves it." But
And
now
I think
Jordan's the one
I do think that
hosting
that's true, though. I think
it.
that
Right.
they
That's
are
what's so weird.
100%. They
Yeah.
are 100% in that camp. I do think that
Oh wait,
like
is Jeff
Jeff has
Jewish?
moved.
Maybe. I don't know.
No,
No.
I think they're just. I think Jeff is just sort of done. Like I think also like I wouldn't be surprised if Jeff is like I can't play this anymore. My back hurts. Like
Yeah. But then
Danielle
Danielle
is in very good shape.
Right,
Danielle
true.
is in like great shape. She can handle this better. I think Jeff will be forever haunted by his clown shoe.
Gotcha.
How do you feel? How do you feel about being stuck with Xavier? By the way,
I'm fine with that. No,
not stuck with Xavier, but
I
like
would
I
have
didn't give you a
rather.
choice.
I'm enjoying the dynamic Nicole is bringing to this season, but I never really want to root for her, so I'm happy not to have her. And then Cody, just because of that one spoiler that was out there that he could be the first boot, I was nervous. But now that he's not the first boot, I'm worried that every kind of now he's gonna win. But I don't know. Everyone's targeting him, but I think he can win comps. But X, this could have just been like, it was week 1. We need to get Cameron out. Here's
Right.
Xavier to get him out. But especially because he's well connected to Taylor, I think it could help him. Because also, if they put Xavier and Taylor in an elimination together, there's a good chance that Xavier will win that one. But we don't know what the comps are, and that's what's so exciting. And we don't know about teams. Like if Cody is on the right team, he can help them win. If Xavier's on the right team, he can help. I don't know. Last thoughts before we move on to Survivor. What are your thoughts on Cam? I mean, are we happy to see him go? I was happy to see him go just because I don't love Cam, but I will say I liked him better here than I did the entirety of Big Brother 25. But I think it's because we didn't get the feeds. So any icky stuff he said. I mean, he opened with Daddy's Home, which was
gross. How do I feel? Like I get to watch my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel. Like I love everyone who's left. I didn't love Cam. I thought that picking someone from 25, he made sense.
See, but if you're gonna say someone's a legend of the game, in my opinion, yes, he was the fan favorite, but someone who got evicted, came back, got evicted again, was pervy on the feeds, and was the first juror. To me, that's not a legend. The only legends of the season, I would say, Jag, his redemption story could be considered a legend in a few years, looking back, maybe. And then like Sari, and then I would even say Felicia is like a legendary figure. But like that's really it for me personally of like who I would consider legends from that season. So
right.
And also they had a DJ and it wasn't Bowie Jane. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought that Cam was a weird choice, I guess.
Yeah, I get it why they did it.
I don't think anyone of 25 is I don't think 25 holds any real like legends. Like I think Jag's story is very interesting, but I think Suri is more of the legend. But Suri was already a legend, so I don't count that so
it's like putting
much.
a celebrity on Survivor. It's like
I think
they're not a legend because Mike White is not a legend because he played Survivor. Mike White is a legend because he wrote The White Lotus and wrote School of Rock, who also did Survivor.
Right, and I think that's sort of one of those things that like maybe this is in retrospect. I think 25 will fade into obscurity as a Big Brother season because it will just kind of forever be the season known as the season where Suri played. I think people will forget Jag won. I think people will not really remember Cam. Like I think if there was anyone to pick, it's probably Cam based on his comp prowess and the fact that like I think what you said, like, oh, like is he really a legend for doing all of this? I think almost getting evicted, surviving the block so many times from the veto, like by getting the vetoes, getting voted out, coming back in, pressure cooker, HO, like he has the statistics to make sense as the legend. But again, I think if this was happening after any other season, they probably wouldn't even include 25 in the rankings. Right. I think it would be sort of like, remember when Big Brother 25 happened? Like that was cool.
Yeah. Well, and another thing is also like, I think this also hurts his chances of returning again because like if he had gone on like won this thing, then yeah, I could see them keeping him in the loop. But I really think they might just throw him to the challenge now, and not to say the challenge is any lesser than, but like I really think
No,
his
but
Big Brother journey might be over now because he came back and he really didn't do as well as like production probably saw that and was like, oh wow, okay, because he really didn't
well,
fight hard to stay really,
and
and I
they
think that
didn't,
this kind of exposed how bad of a player he is strategically
and
tilted.
I also, I mean, I will give him the fact that it was, you know, I will give him the fact that he has no connections. Like he was in the house, he got evicted and went to jury, and then they were like, "Great, while you're here, by the way, get ready to play this thing." And he
Yeah,
had like less than what 2 weeks or some crazy thing
yeah,
like that to do that. So like, I will give him the fact that like I'm interested to see kind of what his legacy is like. If people will remember, like, oh, Cam's the dude who won a lot in his season and then went on to be first boot in these reindeer games. Will that affect him in the future? I am curious to see because I just think that like he will. I will say in his defense, um, he was at the biggest disadvantage over all of them because he has no prior existing relationships. Was just like sequestered for 100 days
yeah,
and did not get to like. He hasn't even detoxed from it yet.
yeah,
So I will say, like,
yeah,
should he be in the mindset to be better at it? Maybe,
yeah.
but he was also just sitting in the jury house instead of actually
Right.
playing.
But
So
that's
like
also
it's a
another thing
little
too is
different.
the jury house gave him time to like just relax. Whereas I feel like if you had gotten Jag in here and he was like that, I'd be like, okay, he just won. You know, he played 100 days. Cameron only played like 75 days and they got to chill for like 20 of them just in the jury house. So like I think he of all the players was probably more rejuvenated than like Jag, which is why Brittany saying he looks old and haggard and tired was funny. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Cameron's overall legacy on Big Brother is. But we're enjoying it. Can't wait for tonight's episode and see how this goes. As for Survivor, I mean, here we are, guys. Ooh, we lost her. We lost the queen. I just got to ask you, Zach, because the last time we talked, you were kind of where's the background? There it is. You were kind of warming up to Emily more and more. First episode, we were both out on her, but I was an Emily truther during the draft with Austin, and you were
I
still
was a
kind of
truther.
you
Get out
weren't
of
though
here.
when we drafted with Ingrid and Austin. You were still on the Emily's not standing another day here train. Now, how do you feel having seen her go out in the fashion she did? And what are your thoughts on just the past few weeks, from Kelly to Kendra to Bruce not playing his idol
Oh,
and going home to Emily? How have you been thinking about this season, and where's your head at now?
um, Kelly was a hard loss. I know
That
you
was
felt
tough.
it. That was your winner,
Yeah,
and she was gone.
yeah.
Um, no, Kelly
But
was a
great
tough
move on them.
loss.
Great move on the Reba floor.
Great.
But also
The
like
game,
crushing.
the gameplay of this season, I think some of the best that I've watched as a new Survivor fan.
Yes. Until
Probably the
this week,
best.
which we'll talk about.
Well, you can't have, you can't be perfect.
Well, I'll
Um,
say one player played this week exceptionally well, and the other, I'd say six didn't. But we'll talk about it in a sec. But yeah,
yes. So I think like overall, Emily did start to grow on me. I I love her. I love her one. I mean, like she has like a full 180 from this season. It is incredible to watch. I'm a big fan. I mean, I went in. I was sad to see her go. I was sad to watch her walk out when after such a long. I mean, after such a long season of being like, all right, well, I'm not opposed to Emily being here. Okay, now I wouldn't be like so opposed if she made Final Tribal. Okay, I wouldn't be so opposed if she won. Like I think it was a long journey, but like a lot of people switched on her and like myself included. I think
yeah,
she was great. I would love to have her back. I think
yeah,
she made some killer choices game wise. She proved
yeah,
her prowess as a player overall. Whereas I mean, like you can go back and you can watch all of the videos that I made early on, like or videos that I made, the episodes that we recorded. I thought that Emily had no game prowess. That's why I didn't pick her. That's why I was not for her as a player. She proved me wrong many, many
yeah,
times, and I will always admit when I've been proved
yeah.
wrong.
And I mean, the
Um,
the fact of like, who did we both put at number one the week before? Bruce. And who went home with an idol in their pocket because Emily convinced him not to play it? This is the person
which
who, the first episode, called him out for having an advantage over everyone because he'd played before. And then to see her be the one to convince him not to play his idol, and then he goes home, that is masterful gameplay on Emily's
right,
part. And I think the big question was, was that the right move or was it not? Looking at it in
Mhm.
retrospect, I think some people would say it was the wrong move because if Bruce is there, that's a shield for her. But I don't think so. Because here's the thing with Bruce. Bruce could be a number for you, but he's also so chaotic and so all over the place and so stubborn. Who's to say he's not going to just turn his back on you the next day? So getting out Bruce was Emily's way of saying, you know what? We're getting out an idol, which will be re-hidden. Maybe
Right.
I can find that. We're getting out Bruce, who's this toxic energy, and now I can focus on getting rid of one of the Reba 4 without Bruce in the picture. Because I think as long as Bruce was there, Katora wasn't going to work with Bruce. So she's probably thinking, if I can get Katora, I need to get Bruce out. So I think it was still a smart move getting rid of Bruce. The only mistake Emily made was then talking about how she was like, no, I convinced him
Right.
not to play his idol. And Julie was like, shit, Emily's got to go.
Oh,
Because
look,
honestly,
you
Emily,
can talk about that at
and
Final
that's the thing,
Tribal.
Emily should have held it for Final Tribal because I sincerely believe if she didn't open her mouth, Julie, after she finds out how Austin and Drew betrayed her and Drew has immunity, I think Julie votes Austin if Emily didn't open her mouth earlier. The problem also is D, and we'll talk about this now. The person who played the best this week was D because
Oh,
Austin
100%.
went right to D and said, "Yeah, we're voting Julie, and she can't play your idol." D tells Julie, "You got to play your idol, girl." And D also made sure she said, "But don't vote Austin," because that's the key is the don't vote Austin because telling Julie to play her idol is one thing, but also convincing her to put her one vote on someone who wasn't Austin was also big. Because I really think Julie was pissed off at Austin and Drew. And we're seeing in the
Oh,
preview,
100%.
she's going to war with Drew and Austin now. Like that Reba 4 is split. And it's really interesting to see how D maneuvered it because now Julie loves D because D told her to play the idol. Austin loves D because Julie's vote went for Emily, not Austin. Austin still has his idol, which expires this week. And then Drew, I think Drew's out with Julie, but still likes D. So I think D did a great job in making sure everyone she
Well,
was straight with.
she is
Yeah.
positioned perfectly now. She has
Yeah.
no reason to be walking out the door unless she blunders hard. And then it will be no one's fault except her own.
Well, and the
in
only
which
thing
case,
is, yeah, the only thing I can think of is if they want to split up Austin and D, and Austin tells people he has an idol, and they split their votes on Austin and D, and Austin plays the idol and D goes home. The problem is Julie's not going to vote for D, so you can't split the vote on Austin and D because Drew, Katora, and Jake are 3 people. So
right.
really,
And
D is in a spot right now where she's at least guaranteed Final Four, and then it's just a matter of if she's in fire making and she loses, she's
right.
out. If she's in fire making and wins, she gets a Final Tribal, or someone could take her. Like I think right now,
Right.
D is guaranteed 4th, whereas even Austin, I don't think is guaranteed 4th because he has to play his idol this round because it expires at 6. Because this is the amulet idol. He gave Julie the real idol. So Julie's idol expired at 5. His expires at 6, which was also dumb. But Austin, I think Austin's the dumbest player of the season next to Bruce. And I'm going to say
it's
right
not
now,
good.
he was so well positioned. All he had to do was be like, hey, Julie, can I have that idol back? Or, hey, Julie, I'm not going to vote for you. And then put his vote somewhere else. Or,
Right.
don't tell D, blindside Julie. She goes out with the idol, but then now you have to do damage control. I think doing damage control with D would have been a lot easier than right now where Julie's still in the game. She's pissed at you, and you wasted an idol, and your idol expires now. You won't have it at 5. And I really think
Right.
Austin is pretty much locked in for 5th place now because I don't think anyone wants to take him to fire. And I think he screwed himself because now D and Drew are the only people. Even Drew, I don't think trusts Austin because Drew's like, dude, you ruined our plan. You told D, and it fucked up our plan. I could see Drew turning on Austin as well. I think Austin played a terrible.
Yeah, I think it was not a good look for him. I do think that there's a world where the good thing for Austin is that he can turn it around.
He can win too, which immunities, which helps.
I mean, he can, and that's the thing, especially this late in the game. All you have to do is win immunity, and you're sitting in the best possible position. The good thing is Austin doesn't need to win immunity this week. He can try and figure out who he needs to win immunity because he's got to play his idol. I mean, and I hope that this is not a spoiler. He's at the top of my winner rank or my safety ranking this week because there is no reason for him to not play it. And if he doesn't, and we eat another first place.
We saw that with Bruce, though. Yeah, like that's the thing is Bruce knew he was getting votes, even made it a plan to be like, hey, I want the votes on me so I can play this idol, and then didn't play the idol. That I could see Austin doing the same. I don't think he's as stupid as Bruce, though.
I think, but that's what I mean. I think that having watched Bruce go out, I think it's sort of like the fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And I mean, again, if I could eat my words, and I'll eat them proudly, if Austin walks out this week not playing an idol, stupidest player I've ever seen play Survivor. It is a no-brainer. You are in final 6. You need to play it to get to 5. You know that you're who's left. We've got D, Austin, Drew, Jake, Julie, Katura. You know your odds against anyone else who stays this week, who stays after this week. You are the best physical threat here. You can win again. You can probably win against any of them given the right comp, right? And there is absolutely a world where you give him a puzzle, Austin's probably not winning the puzzle. But that's okay.
Oh my God, that moment where I know sometimes in the heat of the game you mishear things Jeff says, but Jeff kept saying both sides of the puzzle have to say the same word. And that shot of Austin just looking at the puzzle while we're looking at it from the other end and it's spelled wrong. Hilarious.
Well,
Austin's
and,
not a
and I think, but that's the thing. Unless everything from here on out is a puzzle, Austin can win any of these immunities. Where Austin can play a really, really strategic and fantastic game is if he knows he's not going home this week, you damage control, but then on top of your damage control, you have to. This is where Austin will decide whether or not he makes it to 4 or even fire making. Because I do think also Austin could easily win fire making against any of these people. This is where you decide if you're going to position yourself well, because all he has to do is go to D and be like, listen, I really messed up. My head wasn't screwed on straight. I apologize for throwing such a big target on your back and for trying to make you look like a fool. Let's work together this week, or let's work together today and get out who we need to get out. Because then the situation is all he has to do is actually make a decision on who he wants to get out. If he wants to flip everyone onto Julie last minute, now he just knows he has to do it last minute. If he actually looks at it and goes, I actually kind of, and I know he probably won't, he says, D was the best position. We should get D out. Austin, do I think he's going to do that? No. But
that's, I think his fatal flaw, too, is he's thinking too much about he's thinking with his dick, not his head.
Well, right. And I think this is something that I've said in our org world, right? When you have the ability to be immune, you have leverage. And I think where a lot of people get, and this is just, we're talking about silly online Survivor, but I think it absolutely extends into watching. People have this feeling like, well, you shouldn't be afraid to make moves. And it's like, well, of course I'm not afraid to make moves. But I also, you know what I am afraid of? Getting votes, because I'm not supposed to get votes. I'm supposed to keep myself safe. Austin has guaranteed immunity no matter what. And people, and at least one person knows that. He's got nothing to hide, really. All he has to do is utilize his leverage correctly. Mm-hmm. If he can utilize his leverage correctly in this next episode, then he can set himself up to get to 4, to get to 3. And I think if he's at 3, he has a good shot at being able to convince the people that he should win, depending on who he's up against.
Right. And
if he's up against the wrong person or wrong 2 people, which there are, he has limited options about who I think he can out-talk and out-maneuver right now.
I think
this is going to be big.
I think Drew is a better strategic player and can eloquate that better. I think Julie is a better social player and can eloquate that better. And I think D, if they're sitting together, Austin has literally made D's game better by giving her all the information. All she has to say is, Austin is the reason Julie's safe because she came to me. He came to me. I came to her. D has an argument over him. I think that's the thing, is everyone in the Reba 3 has an argument over him. The 2 best people he could sit next to are Jake and Katura. The problem is he doesn't want that because he's putting himself in his friendships above that. I think right now, whoever takes Jake and Katura, I think legitimately Katura has a case of winning, especially after this week, seeing her backstory and stuff. She just reminds me of a young Suri, the way she kind of laughs and she's a little bit maniacal, but she's also very honest and very wholesome. The thing is, Katura's game is a little sloppy, but who's to say the viewers are seeing the same game as the players? Because the players, all they see is that she really wants Bruce out, and now Bruce is out. We, the viewers, are like, oh, her edit is so streamlined. But that first episode, she made Jake look like a fool when she was doing the lawyer thing. So I really think we're getting a good final surge of Katura where I think she has the potential to win. But I still think taking Katura and Jake to the end is the best path to the end. And whatever Reba figures that out is going to be the winner, I think. If Julie says, hey, I need to get out Drew this week, and then Austin, and then I need to cut D at fire making, and Julie's sitting there with Katura and Jake, Julie wins. If D thinks the same thing where she's like, I need to get
Which
out
is
Drew,
crazy. We would not have called a Julie win early on.
No.
I will say, My winner pick is still here.
Your winner pick is, yes, he is, and he's doing well. And the thing is, he's not playing a good game in terms of like he's not controlling any of the game, but he's doing a good game in terms of the very nature of the game being survive. He is surviving, and he's doing it. And if he can make a case, the thing is, the difference between him and someone like Owen from 2 seasons ago, Owen
Mhm.
and him have the same game. Every time they try something, it doesn't work. They have to keep getting strung along the plans. None of the plans that they want to make happen. They are following other people's plans. The
Yeah.
difference, I think Jake, being a lawyer and theater teacher, can schmooze a jury and talk it up a little bit better than Owen can, because Owen was just kind of like, it was a pleasure to get here. I understand I didn't play the best game. I'd love for you to consider me, but I know
Well,
Gabriel
right.
has
I
your
think,
hearts and Cassidy did a better job.
and I
Whereas I
think
think Jake can
Jake
sell it.
and Jake. That's the thing. Jake has fight within him, and Jake does. I mean, Jake has a story. Look at the Kelly vote out. Like, I mean, Kelly by all, that was the right call. But on a night when Jake was the obvious choice to walk out, everyone saw the merit in keeping someone who is, so worn down and doesn't really have a shot and is playing a floppy game. If Jake is smart, and I mean, you've seen, I don't know if you've seen people do it in like these in our online variations, but I've seen people do it. People have spun their weaker games and their games where like, oh, like I knew I was always on the bottom, so I utilized that to my advantage. I know he'll never watch this, so I'm going to use it. You and someone who you and I have both played with, who was out early merging your game and won my game.
Frank, yeah.
I thought played a super weak game throughout, but was able to really utilize the way people viewed that as a talking point during Final Tribal. And I didn't vote for him because I couldn't change my perspective, but others did because it did change their
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
It's all about how you talk to the jury. And I
Mhm.
think right now the good thing is there are a lot of people on that jury who I think will sympathize with Jake. I think they'll look
Mhm.
at him and they'll go, "You tell a good enough story, and you give me a good enough reason to keep you, or you give me a
Yeah.
good enough reason to vote for you, I'll vote for you."
Yeah. The only
But I
problem is I
think,
think the edit is also kind of showing him as a bit of a buffoon, getting in the fight with Drew, and then all the times he's been wrong. The thing I look at Survivor edit is how many times are they wrong? And it was the jam thing of every time I want someone to go home, they go home. Josh is out, this person's out, this person's out.
mhm,
I look for that, and the only person right now who's getting their way every single time is D. And
mhm,
because Drew and Austin this week wanted Julie out, it backfired. Julie, yes, she played the idol and made that big move, but even earlier we heard her being like, I don't want to send Kendra out, but that's what they want. I can't vote out D. And I think that's going to
right,
be Julie's biggest weakness. I think Julie and Austin's biggest weakness is they can't go against D. Drew's biggest weakness is that he's too stubborn in getting out Julie or D. And then Jake and Couture's weakness is just I don't think they've had enough agency. Like right now that Emily's gone, I don't see a world where D doesn't win right now. But
yeah.
obviously, Survivor, Gabler won over Cassidy and Owen, so there is still a path for
Well, and
anyone.
I think that is also one of the things that's keeping, knock on wood, my hope for Jake
Jake,
alive is
yeah,
that we thought Gabler was just a fucking goat for most of the
right,
season, and
right.
that his edit wasn't super great either. It showed
No,
Gabler he had good moments, but for the most part, it made Gabler look like kind of just a string along for most people, which for a while he was, and then he again. We have seen someone who played a worse game than the two people he was sitting, one of the people he was sitting next to, schmooze his way to a win, and that's what I do think that like now, if Jake and Katura are sitting there with each other, I don't think Jake beats Katura. I think Katura has a stronger game. I think she has a stronger case. I think she has more wherewithal to be able to sell her case because this is what they both do. But Katura probably has 1 million other reasons why she like it already planned in her head
mhm,
as to what she can say that prove why, even though all I can just see it. The only thing that she has to do is she has to be like, how many of you knew that Jake was a lawyer? How many of you knew I was a lawyer? And then
yeah. Well, especially with
that's the
Julie,
end.
I think that's another thing too. Is she's gonna need Julie on the jury because if Julie's sitting, so if it's Julie, Katora, and Jake, and Katora says that, Julie can be like, "Guess who else is a lawyer?" Because that's a problem. Julie's keeping it a secret too. But the thing is, I don't think Julie would necessarily like be as much of a shock to people because I think
Right.
if she gets to the end, people are like, "Oh, it's Mama Julie, she's gonna win." Whereas Katora could win it based on not having like she could gain momentum from it. I don't think it's actually gonna gain Julie anything. I think if Julie's in the end, she could win. I just think it's going to be so fascinating now because the Reba 4 is finally broken up. Yes, they're all still there, but Drew and Julie are not working together from here on out. Drew
Nope.
tried to get out Julie. We saw it in the preview. While I don't know if one of them is going to go home, the preview sometimes lies to us, but like they're clearly not working together. D and Austin, the showmance thing also. Maybe that ends up being a huge threat. Maybe they vote out D because of the showmance thing, and then we are kind of left being like, who's the obvious winner edit? Because there's not.
Right.
Right now, the two obvious winner edits, or the three, were Kelly, Emily, and D. And now that Emily and Kelly are out, I really think D has the winner edit, but
Hmm.
I would love it if I was wrong because I really think Survivor could be and should be more interesting. And even then, if D is the winner, she's played a great game, and it's really going to be interesting to see how she does it. Let's quickly go through our rankings because we kind of said all we need to say about these people. But in terms
Right.
of this week, who's our safest? Who's our least safest? My number 1 and 2 should be obvious. 1 is Austin because of the idol. 2 is
Yep.
D because I think she's just so well positioned.
Correct.
Is that
And
your top?
they are both my 1 and 2. It would be stupid for we've done this before. It would be stupid for Austin to not play this idol. If he doesn't play this idol and we both eat our words once again, I will riot and I will quit
Yeah.
Survivor.
And I like Austin. I think people are gonna watch this video and be like, Dylan's an Austin hater. I just don't think he played this week well at all. Because really, if you want Julie out, you can't tell D. You can't. And if you pull it off
No.
and lose D from it, maybe you guys can reconcile, but it's not worth having a girlfriend
Right.
to do that. And to compare
I
yourself to
agree.
Boston Rob and Amber, I thought was hilarious too, because you could never. All right. Who's your
You
number three?
could never.
Who's your number
Number 3 number 3 I have Jake. I think
three?
Jake
Me too.
Yeah, I think Jake is in a good position to not be
Yeah.
the one on anybody's part
Yeah.
this week. That's really it. I mean, at the end of the day, he is currently in the best position to not be a threat to anyone's game.
He's in the best
and then-
position he's been in so far.
Yes,
He really is. Because now I
100%.
think everyone's starting to think longevity, and I really don't think anyone's like, we need to get out Jake now. He's such a big threat to win.
Yeah.
I think you see a path to victory more than I do. I'm getting such glaring.
Oh, I don't see not
I'm
really
seeing
a
a
path
zero.
to victory.
I'm seeing a
It's
0 vote finalist edit from Jake. But the thing is, that's good for the ranking sake because I think he's not going anywhere.
Right.
You know?
And I think that overall, I mean, listen, we've had a 0 vote finalist who I was all about. Xander, I thought was like a shoe-in to win. I don't think that Jake is a shoe-in to win. I think Jake, up against the right set of people, can win. I think it's going to be a very long shot to get the exact right person or the right set of people. We'll see. Like, that's kind of where I'm at, is like, if Jake gets, I'll tell you right now, like, if like Jake is sitting there with Drew and Austin, possibly.
Yeah, because Drew might have rubbed people the wrong way, and Austin, if he continues to make blunders, I could see Jake also doing it. But even then, it's like, I feel like also you got to think about who's on the jury and who's advocating, because you have Emily on a jury, you have Caleb on a jury, you have Kelly on a jury. They have a lot of sway because I feel like Kelly could just tell people, yeah, I'm voting for this person because they deserve to win. Kelly so they used to do these things called Ponderosa videos where they would like literally show.
I remember. I've seen them.
Yeah, they're amazing. They don't do those anymore, but they did do it for 41. That's right. But they haven't done them since 41 because apparently there was some bad shit going down with Shan, and then season 42 there was a fight between Omer and Drea, so they didn't show it. But this year they're doing TikToks of them just kind of like being like, hey, I'm at Ponderosa, and like this is like my thoughts on the game right now. It's not like a full video, it's like literally a 2-minute clip. But Kelly was saying Emily was running, like she was hoping Emily would make it to the end because she thought Emily was the best, and Emily was running things and she wanted to give Emily the win. If Emily's in the end, Kelly's a good advocate for Emily. I could see the same being said for like Drew or Austin if they're in the end and Emily can be a good advocate. I really think it's going to be a matter of who's on that jury to advocate, because I think if Jake is there with Drew and Austin, even if Jake's played a better game at the end game, I still think D would try to get the jury to go Austin, or, like that's going to be really telling who's on the jury. It'll be interesting. My number 3 is Jake as well. My number 4 is Katora. I think Katora, if the Rebas do get back together, you haven't heard of as well. I'm wondering if we had the same bottom or not, but I
am curious.
I could see a world where Reba does get back together and they're just like, you know what, we made it so far, we need to just stick it out. And in between Jake and Katora is a clear boot. But right now, Bruce's idol is still out there. to be rediscovered. Julie just played an
That
idol,
is true.
so Julie's idol is still out there. There's potentially 2 idols hidden out there. I could see a world where Katora finds an idol, plays an idol, and then the Reba goes home anyway. Like I
Yep.
think Ariba's going home this week no matter what, but we'll see.
I do too.
If a Bello is going, it's Katora, but I really think right now she is my second winner prospect behind D, because I really do think this episode gave her a big boost with the backstory, but also the stuff with the lawyer, her finally making these relationships now that Bruce is gone. I think Bruce going was a way of kind of showing this new side to Katora, which I think is going to be great going forward. So,
and I mean, she has, I think, overall one of the better stories at the end. She talks about her crusade to get Bruce out. Once Bruce gets out, you know, instead of people being like, okay, cool, now it's time for Katura, she managed to integrate herself well enough that she made it to the end, and there's a reason that she should win. But I agree with you. I think she's the stronger prospect to go home between her and Jake, because I just don't see a world where they look at Jake and go, yeah, he's definitely the person we should be worried about. Which then leads me to my number 5, which I'm going to take a gamble, and I'm going to say Drew.
Okay, we have a different 5 and 6. Finally.
So I think I know your brain well enough to know that you probably are putting Drew at 6. So I'm putting Drew at 5 because I think it doesn't really matter between him and Julie. I think it's going to come down to how Dee and Austin play this week with Katura, or play this episode with Katura and Jake. Because depending on who manages to kind of like convince the other two what's best for their game, and then the same thing for Drew and Julie. I think it's just going to come down to who is going to be able to convince people more that it's worth for them, that it's more worth it for their personal game to have them stay over the other. I think personally, it's probably better if Drew goes, but I think Drew probably can convince people a little bit better considering what just happened with Julie. And I think that Julie is an easy name to write down when she was supposed to be the one walking out the door anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what happened to Caleb. Caleb had that big moment, and the very next week it was like, all right, Caleb's out.
Right.
And that could very well happen again.
I think that's probably that is the easy solution. I don't necessarily know if it's the one that I want.
The problem is too, if Drew, Jake, and Katora are still like, all right, we'll just go for Julie again, is Austin gonna still do that? Like, because that's the thing. Dee and Julie are probably gonna be like, we gotta go Drew. Jake and Katora and Drew might go Julie. What if we see Rock draw this week? Because hear me out. Austin, what if Austin's like, I really don't want to go Drew. I don't really want to go Drew. And Dee's like, it's me or Drew. Then he goes, okay, fine, I'm voting Drew. And then we see Austin, Julie, and Dee vote Drew. And then we see Katora, Jake, and Drew vote Julie. And it's 3-3. And then they're both safe. And then what if we see like Dee, or what if we see Austin go out on rocks because he didn't play his idol, and then he forced a tie because he was so in love with Dee that he could not vote Julie out. He voted his best buddy Drew out. Oh my God, that'd be so epic.
But do we think? So then my question: it would be so epic. Do we think that? Because here's the thing: I'm not risking my game at 6 for rocks. No,
but Austin could. Austin would.
Shot that I
Austin
risk my
would
game at 6 with rocks.
If Dee is like, hey, I'll let you give me your D if you vote with me, D, and vote for your best. Because that's the thing, is it would have to be on Drew. Because Austin would be voting out his best friend Drew because he loves D, and then not playing his idol because he's not in trouble. And then all of a sudden, it's a tie. Julie and Drew, they can't come up with a consensus. So Drew and Julie are both safe. Let's say D won immunity. Then Austin, Katora, and Jake pick rocks, and Austin goes home. That would be the most epically crazy moment ever. I kind of almost want to put Austin lower in that case than D.
No,
I'm not going to, because I don't know. That'd be wild though if we get a rock draw because Austin can't vote out Julie because of D, or Austin just votes out Julie and it's a clear-cut 4-2 vote. I don't know.
It will be very interesting to see how this plays out. I can't wait. We're very close to the end of the season.
Yeah, but Austin voting out Drew just doesn't feel like the right thing. So I think D would have to go over Austin's head and get Katora and Jake to vote out Drew. I have Drew at 6 just because I think in terms of edit and because D is so well positioned, I think D has a likelier chance of keeping Julie than Austin does keeping Drew.
Mhm.
That's where it comes down to. But I really don't know. Also with idols, what if Austin plays his idol for Drew?
Well, if Austin plays his idol for Drew, if someone finds Bruce's idol, like there's a lot of I
Yeah.
mean that's what's good and that's what's also terrifying is there's a lot of factors that we have no control over and we
Dude, if
won't
there's
know
a
until we're
rock
watching
draw,
the episode.
I'm gonna lose my mind if there's a rock draw. I'm
I
gonna
hope so,
lose my
honestly.
mind.
I hope
Oh,
so. That would be
if
hilarious.
we get a rock
Um,
draw and it goes to commercial, I want to just like throw this on live stream and just like
and we just watch
react in the
it.
moment. That
I'm
won't
fine with
happen
it.
because I'll be streaming with for something else tomorrow during the episode. So
I see. You're too good for me.
no,
That's a
you
joke.
know
That
what?
was
If
a
you want
joke.
to,
That was a
no,
joke. That was a
Zach,
joke.
you want to stay up till midnight and watch it when I watch it? I'll gladly do that. No, but that is going to be so. The next day,
sure
if
it is.
there's a rock draw, the next morning, Thursday morning, let's try to get on as early as possible because that's going to be
When I am a teacher.
6 a.m. No, I'm kidding.
I mean,
We'll figure it
okay.
out. But no,
I've never
really,
been.
like if a rock draw happens, it would be the most exciting moment of an already great season. Like I think a lot of
It
people
is.
have not loved this season because this person's losing their vote, this person's losing their vote. But I think they're really doing a great job just utilizing this cast to their full potential. I mean, the montage of girls' night, boys' night from the Kendra Boot episode was so good. Like or Bruce Boot, I think it was. I don't remember. But like the whole like girls' night, guys' night thing, like everything about the character moments and the cast has been so good.
It's been a very good season, very good players, people who I am hoping to see return at some point. I want a heroes versus villains. That's what I want. I want
Yeah.
heroes versus villains. I want second chances.
Because
I
we're
want
getting some great villains this season. I mean, Bruce is kind of one of those unintentional villains where he doesn't realize he's being a villain. But you
well,
have like I would say Dee is a villain. Dee is
oh,
owning the maniacal
I
stuff.
agree.
She's great, and I would even say Drew is a pseudo villain. I don't think he's necessarily as evil. And even Emily, I could see them putting her on a villain's try because she was very blunt and honest. But I think she's more of a hero at this point. But Caleb is a great hero, which I think is funny because preseason we thought he'd be the villain, but he's very
Oh, I
clearly a hero.
totally thought he'd be the villain, and I'm very happy to have been wrong. I'm
Yeah,
okay
Kelly
with
could be a
being
good
wrong.
hero. I mean, a lot. There could be such a good heroes versus villains cast out of this. Even Julie could be a villain because she's sneaky and Mama Julie, she's coming for you.
And you
Yeah.
never see it coming.
Oh my god, that'd be
And
so
you
cool
never
if
see
they
it
did a
coming.
heroes versus villains. Because like you have Shan and Ricard, you could be villains. You have
Oh yeah.
Xander. Xander could be a hero. Omer could be a villain. He's a great villain. Jonathan, Probst loves Jonathan.
Right.
Carla and Jesse,
He
they could
does
be
love
villains or
Jonathan.
heroes. Yeah, like there's so many good new era players. Jam Jam as a hero, Carolyn back on our screens. Like I think we
Carolyn
need
as a
heroes versus
hero.
villains. Yeah,
Carson as a cool villain. Carson as a villain, like an unexpected villain. He
I
wasn't
think they'd
super
make an Aaron.
villainous, but
They'd make
like
an Aaron.
I think that you can't put the Tika 3 all together. That's so dangerous.
That's why I think. Yeah, you're right. Maybe they
You can't
wouldn't
put the
do.
Tika
Maybe
3
they
all
just do an
together.
All Stars then, because the first Survivor
I
All Stars
would love
was
to
season
see
8.
All Stars.
Or no, season 8 was the first ever All Stars, and we're at 45. So 2 more seasons of this, 6 and 7, and maybe season 48 is All Stars with new era players. I'd be down.
I'm excited, and maybe this is again just me because I think I mean it's the same way that I feel about Big Brother. Like I love seeing new players, but I know that Survivor does a lot more like all stars and everything to that, like heroes versus villains, second chances. There's so many different ways to play the game. Winners at war. Like I am excited to hopefully see like a bunch of players who now because I think that's what's so great about the game is that you learn by playing, so you should get the chance to come back and like fix what you've done.
Yeah, well, because
Fix your
some of the
mistakes.
best players ever, and Matt, if you're watching this, I'm not going to spoil much, but like, I guess I
Don't
am.
watch.
You're
Turn it
watching
off.
Matt. You're watching Cook Islands now, so tune out for a sec. But like Parvati's first season, she's not as big of a character or as a player. She's great at like using the flirting as a strategy, but she doesn't really come into her own until Micronesia, fans versus favorites, and heroes versus villains. Like that's really where we see Parvati emerge as in my opinion, greatest woman to ever play the game. So I really think it's interesting to see on returns. Kelly Wentworth, another one that was 14th place, I think, on her first season, and then came back to have one of the best idol plays ever. I mean, some of the best players ever came. I mean, Boston Rob was 10th place his first season.
Right.
Came back in All
Yeah.
Stars, was the runner up, and then played 2 more times, then finally won. But like, his All Stars game, he was second, and his first season he was 10th. So you really don't know, which gives me hope for Kelly on a return because she was 10th. So, oh my god, my
I
favorite
like
player this
Kelly.
season still. I love Emily, but like Kelly has my heart. I love Kelly.
Ugh,
So yeah, there we
so
go.
good. All good
Drew and
things.
Julie at the bottom of our rankings. I have Drew, he has Julie, but really it's only going to be a point or two. But yeah, any last thoughts on this? Any thoughts on anything else? I know Bachelor and Golden Bachelor and Bachelor in Paradise wrapped. All three couples that left Paradise together have now broken up in the span of 2
It
days.
wasn't a good
Um, Not good. Boring
paradise.
season. It just wasn't entertaining. So for some reason, personally, I know you didn't watch it, but I just wasn't a fan. Golden Bachelor started really great. Awesome cast. I love the cast. I think having Gary as the Bachelor was great. The only thing is at the end, like all Bachelor seasons, it's just crazy some of the things these guys do to these women of like you're going to be the one and then breaking up with them. It's just still crazy, and I feel like the edit, it was very much something that happened at Fantasy Suites that the edit couldn't show because they can't have cameras in there, and that's when everything turns. So it's like almost like we didn't get the full story, but it was still a great season, and I think the Golden Bachelor is so much stronger than regular Bachelor, like just by
Mhm.
there's so many good stakes that come with Golden Bachelor that you can't get from regular Bachelor because instead of influencers, it's like my life and
Right.
death. There's so many bigger stakes. But any last words on any reality TV going on right now?
No. Is there any other reality TV
I mean,
happening?
Dancing with
We
the
didn't
Stars
watch
ended.
Squid Games.
Oh,
We didn't
we
watch
can
Squid
watch
Games.
that. Yeah,
We should
haven't
do a
watched it.
watch through of Squid
Yeah,
Games.
we can do that. And then Dancing with the Stars we watch, but we're gonna do like a big recap with Zach's wife Rachel at some point. We talked to her about it. Just doing like a going through each person, talking about how we like them that season, and then maybe at the end giving our like top few dances of the season. Um, Another winner pick I got right, just saying. But that was kind of, you know, you can tell who's going to be a good dancer usually just based on first watch. And Zach, while your winner pick didn't start off well, she still made it to the finale and came fifth
She
place,
didn't
which is
make it to
big.
the finale,
Um,
and she probably shouldn't have been there, but that's
no,
okay.
but she grew a lot. But what else is on? Amazing Race is on, but I'm not caught up, so I don't know who's still in. So TBD, even though both our winner picks are out. Yeah, that's it for me. Anything else, Zach?
No,
Oh,
I mean,
didn't you have a big life announcement to
oh
tease?
yeah, sorta. So, can I send you an image and will you put it up? Can I
Um,
do that? Will you have enough
you can.
time?
I mean, you can put the image if you present and
Oh,
share screen,
I guess I sure
and
can,
you can
right?
just share the file. Yeah.
Oh, I should.
Yes.
That's not a good one. Okay, while I do this,
Yeah.
this is good. Um, yeah, we'll do this. So I this is a fun new an exciting life announcement.
He's not having a baby. He's not moving. It's not that.
Even bigger than even bigger than blah blah. What was I saying? Going viral on TikTok. Um, my wife Rachel and I and our friend Brian started a theater company here in New Jersey. Where is it? This is gonna be the
You go to
worst.
present and then
I got you.
share
I
screen,
have to.
and then
I
you'll be able
put
to pick the
this.
actual the
There
window.
we go. It is called Petty Love Productions.
Yay!
It's a very fun logo, very, very exciting. We're literally talking about marketing while I am sitting here on this live stream. We are, and this is fun and exciting. We are doing our first event and it is a live stream on YouTube on December 21st. I'm sure we will share more information about it. It'll be on our YouTube. You can find us on literally every single social media there is at Petty Love Productions. Let me actually just make sure that that's correct. I have business cards, but of course I don't have a business card literally right next to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at Petty Love Productions. We'll be doing our first thing, like I said, December 21st at 7:30. It is a live reading of A Christmas Story, a fun holiday classic. And it's very exciting. We soft launched almost 2 weeks ago. If you would like to donate, you can. I mean, we're a non for profit here in New Jersey. Go to any of these ats right here at Petty Love Productions and help us create some really cool and accessible theater. We're focusing on educational theater. We're focusing on giving artists a very cool new outlet to produce high quality theater um, throughout the state of New Jersey, and then hopefully
Yeah.
one day outside the state of New Jersey. And
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's my very exciting announcement.
Very exciting. Very happy for you.
Dylan, do you have anything exciting? I mean, I know you do. It's coming up soon. It's coming up soon. The first trailer dropped not that long ago.
Oh yeah, sorry, Band on the Run.
Come on,
Yeah,
man.
it's because there's no official date or anything yet. But yeah, Band on the Run, the film I'm working on or was working on in co-starring, is finally finished, and they are now there's going to be a Detroit premiere in February. I want to say February. So stay tuned. If you're a Detroit area, I think it's going to be open to the public. We don't have a date yet confirmed, or it might just be a cast and crew thing. I will let you all know, but we are also going to trickle it out. Obviously, it'll probably be popping up other festivals, other coastal premieres. I want to do a premiere here in New York, in Jersey, just for friends and family of mine to see it before you're able to all see it, and then we'll share more information as to whether it's going to be theatrically released, streaming release, straight to video on demand, whatever it may be. We will share every step of the way. But I'm just very proud of it. And the trailer was posted on the director's Facebook, which is a public Facebook. So if you want to see it, go to the Dill Pickle Movie Network Facebook page. I shared it there if you want to see the trailer for it. The trailer is not publicly accessible on like YouTube or anything yet until we do get a distributor. But it's very exciting, and I'm very much looking forward to people finally seeing it. Yeah, and just kind of just auditioning and seeing what else is around the corner. Hopefully soon. Got some fun stuff up on the horizon. So thank you all so much for watching, and check out our socials down there. If you're listening on podcast, I'll tell you real quick. Dylan_Randazzo, Zakuraba39, and then
At Love Productions.
Petty Love Productions.
PETTYLOVE Productions. PRODUCTIONS.
There you go. And enjoy Reindeer Games. We have about an hour, 15 minutes. So get some dinner, get some cookies in the oven. I will be watching, and I'm very excited to watch more of it. And Zach and I will make sure, now that I'm back from vacation, now that his tech week is over, and while we have a little bit of low time for the holidays, we're going to try, really try our best to do more like weekly programming for you. And if not, we're thinking also, because there's like so many like shows that I've just been watching on my own that I'm like, I want to put out like a ranking of Top Chef winners, because why not? That's where the Dill Pickle podcast is going to be like a good spot for that stuff too. If like there's a week where I just want to talk about something, or Zach wants to just talk about something reality wise or otherwise, and just wants to talk about it, we could do it on the podcast. So stay tuned for anything. Drafts. Stay tuned, Facebook, because you will find out what 2 drafts we're doing this month. One is Christmas themed, one is not Christmas themed. Themed around a studio that just celebrated 100 years, but we couldn't celebrate them because of the strike. But we will be doing a draft.
Now we can. Dibs on Christmas.
Yeah. So that's why we did 2 drafts, because I know the hosts are gonna love both topics. So I was like, you know what? To give more people opportunities, we're gonna have 8 guests total. So 4 on one, 4 on the other. So go to the Facebook page and sign up. The host will have dibs on what show they want to do. It sounds like Zach wants to do the Christmas one.
Always Christmas.
Then, we'll give Kelsey, Matt, and Chad their dibs, and then whatever spots are open, you all will get to say if you want to be a part of, and we'll schedule it for sometime next week before the holidays, and then the other one probably right after the holidays. So thank you so much. That's enough rambling. I would play the Taylor and Jag clips again, because they're right here in my little window, but we don't have time. So I'll just send the outro.